Welcome back, programming aficionados, especially those who like to program in AutoCAD anyway. This is, I'm going to make a few little suggestions on programming style. I think it makes a big difference in terms of readability, and uh, you got to make it easy on yourself because if you don't make it easy on yourself and your code isn't readable, it's hard to do more involved, more complicated things. So I made a few notes on programming style here, and I'm going to go through them with you. So number one thing is you got to break up your code into lots of smaller functions and use long descriptive function names and capitalize the first letters in all words in your function names like this. Toggle snaps off. What does this function do? It toggles your snaps off, all right? Or, for example, create new window from rect in wall. There's no doubt about what this function is going to do. Or, for example, draw window. You got to use descriptive long names in your function and capitalize the first letter. Um, for example, here's some code that they don't do this. They don't do this really. It's just a lot of there are no function calls and there's no capitalization, and that's how most people program. And it's difficult to read. You got to make things simple. You got to make things easy for yourself to read, or else you're going to be spending too much time and mental capacity trying to figure out what the heck your code is doing. And so you got to be really descriptive. Also, in order to make it easier on yourself, you should you should put a comment on closing brackets to match the function name because orderless code is organized through bracketing. And for example, like this here makes it a lot more obvious that that's the ending bracket for this if statement right here. When you got a whole bunch of ending parentheses in a row and they don't have these comments here, it just makes it harder. And so if you do that, it's a lot easier to see what's going on. And also, uh, take a look at this code here. See how there's these. This has these tabs are consisting of four spaces. I find it's much easier to read the code when the tabs are set at two spaces. Uh, and what you do is you set it like this up here. You go to Tools, Windows Attributes, Configure Current, and then you make the tab width here and the left margin. Uh, you set them to 2. They're in AutoCAD. The stock values are 8, and I just find it a lot easier to read when they're set at 2. And where were we? Oh, hold on a second. I want to go get myself a beer. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I had my I had my beer. And so where were we? Okay, so okay, you should always include comment above your functions to explain the functions. Like, for example, um, like Like here, this is not just for other people to to read. It's for you to read, because if you don't work on this program for a while, you might forget what it does. It's very helpful, not just for other people, but for you. And not only will you appreciate it, but whoever has to read your program and figure out how it works they're going to appreciate that too. So on to the next one. Let's see. All right. Put two empty lines between functions, and put single empty line between lines of your code to logically group your code to make your code readable. I mean, take a look what this guy's doing over here. He's not doing that, and because of that, it's hard to read. If you take a look at my code here, for example, it's a little bit easier to read. Like, for example, right now I'm telling you I'm going to figure out the wall thickness right here, all right? So I have a rectangular area, and it gets the p-line area of the rect, the pl rect, that was one of the parameters of this function. And then there's the window hole volume of the window hole. That's an entity. And this function gets the 3D solid volume of the window hole because it's 3D solid. And after that, we don't need the window hole anymore. We just need it for this calculation, so it's deleted here. And then the wall thickness is calculated by dividing the window hole volume by the rectangle area. And as you can see right here, it says figure out wall thickness. And so it's grouped together here. You know that code is all about getting the wall thickness. And then this variable is used in the next function over here. So these 4 lines of code were just all about getting the wall thickness, and then the window hole is deleted. And so in that matter, it makes the code more readable. And let's see. Okay, yeah, you can use functions to create more understandable aliases rather than generic autolist built-in functions, like how I define x chord, y chord, and z chord in my vector handling functions. It reads much easier. So, I mean, if we go over to my support functions and we look for, you know, x chord is just an alias for nth0 vect. You could write that in your code, but it's much more understandable if you have x chord instead, because it, it just reads better, and and making your code readable helps you make more complicated code, because you don't have to translate this or this into this or this. It looks better too. Hold on, I gotta take a break for dinner. This thing.